Bitch, y'all cousins don't have a name. They name cousin. What you doing, cousin? Where you going, cousin? What you eating, cousin? What you wearing, cousin? Who you with, cousin? Bitch, you don't have a name. Your name is Cousin.
As you know, I was off of here for a couple of days because I had a cold. Some people had contacted me in my comments and was telling me, get well soon. So, welcome back to this channel. Hi, my name is Monica. Welcome back to this channel. Like, comment, and subscribe. And let's get to this story. But before we get to the story, I want to take the time to let y'all know that I'm doing better. But I'm going to do it a different kind of way. I want to do it my way. I don't want to do it somebody else's way. I'm going to do it my way that I do on my own channel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sip some of this coffee, and then I'm going to read off the names that people have contacted me about me and my cold and me being sick and stuff like this. So like, comment, subscribe, hit the like button and the notification button so y'all know when I get on here and make an upload. So I thank y'all for being worried, and I thank y'all for staying because, Jesus. Like I said, I had posted I had made a paragraph on my page about the reason why I hadn't been on here because Connie had been worried about why she hadn't seen me. But not only Connie was she worried, it was a host of other people. And we're going to read their names off right now. Bertha, Kendra, Sandra, Corinthia, Latanja, She's a Vet, Yvonne, Bianca, Tanasia, Miss Jones, Melissa, Tammy, Kivanda. If I messed that up, baby, listen, I'm sorry, but Kivanda, me and you, girl, we right here. Okay. Sandra, Kim, William, Tiffany, Mary, and my bestie in my mind, Nicole. I want to thank y'all for checking on me because y'all really didn't have to, but I really wanted to tip my hat off to y'all. 10 out of 10, chef's kiss. Now I got a question for y'all. When y'all hear that word cousin, what does cousin mean? Cousin, when you hear somebody say cousin, they can say cousin, but then when you hear them say cuz or cousin, you already know what that means. Well, a cousin is a cousin. It doesn't matter if y'all see each other today, tomorrow, or 6 months from now. When you hear that word cuz or cousin, that means a lot. It holds a lot. So therefore, everybody else can call they audience or they subscribers besties. From this point on, y'all are my cousins. But for this story here, I'm going to tell y'all about my cousin, Dawanna. And y'all have heard about Dawanna before because y'all heard about where her and Monique stole Bubba's car and Stupid was trying to chase the car and he was limping. So therefore, y'all already know who my cousin Dawanna, y'all know her attitude. We're going to talk about her. Now, see, the reason why I'm talking about a cousin is because my cousin, when you have a cousin, whether or not you're in a crowd, of a small crowd, a big crowd, a grocery store, or whatever, all you can hear is somebody say, hey, cuz, and you know they talking to you. A cousin is something that you never turn your back on. A cousin will always have your back. No cousins look alike. No cousins walk alike. No cousins talk alike. But at the end of the day, you know that's your cousin, and you know you got your cousin's back. So therefore, I don't see how people can actually not have admiration for their cousin. I have some for Mass. Even though she's not here, I still have that same admiration for her because she was that bullshit that we love, that bullshit that would keep the shit going. She was the bullshit, and this is how this story happened. Dawanna had went down to her mother's house, and I told y'all in the story before that her mother was my aunt in the wheelchair, the one that messed over my mom. Now, if you don't know who she is, go back in my story. Like I said, she had went down to her mom's house because my mom sent her down there to go and get her another bag of clothes and bring them to the house so she was staying with us. Now, keep in mind, she's lived with her mom, but she stayed 90% of the time, 99.7% of the time, she was over at our house because we was hanging out on my porch. Now, when I say about my porch sat in the middle of a busy street, not a busy street, but because the projects was down the street, everybody would drive up and down the street. So we would all sit on the porch and we would look at them. You know, this is in the 90s, so you're looking at the cars, you're looking at the dudes, they hanging out the cars, they slumped down in the car and shit like this. But this is how this was going. So Dawanna stayed 90% of the time, like I said, over at our house. So my mom sent her down to her mother's house to get her a bag of clothes. Now, keep in mind, it was me, Monique, Margaret, and Dawanna. we was going to walk down to my aunt's house, get her a bag of clothes, and come back. So this is how this went. We got down there, got the clothes. This is a couple of days later. Like usual, because Dawanna was a street pharmacist, by her being a female, she didn't give a damn. She still got her money the best way she had to. Now, keep in mind, she didn't just have one boyfriend, she had several. But that didn't pay us we really didn't pay that no attention because this is how Dawanna was all her life. But Dawanna had been messing around with one of the street pharmacists that was a big street pharmacist. But he was a big street pharmacist, but he had a funky ass attitude. When I say a funky attitude, he would have other females in the car when he came back to give Dawanna some money. He would have another female in the car and he wouldn't give a damn. And she didn't give a damn. She would call the girl a bitch and probably smack her in the face because she was sitting on the passenger side of the car. He would say something to Dawanna about hitting the girl and he would mug her in the nose. Her nose would bleed. She'd run in the house. It was the same old thing every day, damn near. Okay, but see, Dawanna was vengeful. Dawanna had it in her mind that she wanted to be as big of a street pharmacist as he was. But some of the other street pharmacists that she was messing around with, they were big street. Now, this particular time, Dawanna came on, she was over at our house. Her dude had picked her up. What we gonna call him? We got to call him something. We gonna call him Rain. We'll call him Rain. Rain had came past the house, picked Dawanna up on a Monday. We didn't see Dawanna again until Saturday. But when we seen Dawanna, she had a black eye. We like, damn, where'd you get the black eye from? She was like, well, you know, this motherfucker, he done put his hands on me and this, that, and the other. She was like, but as you know, she said, you see my eye? She said, wait till you see his. But when he dropped her off, we didn't get to see his eye because he didn't roll. Normally, he rolled the window down, you know, so people could see who he was in the car. Because there was a lot of females all the time on my mom's porch. But when he dropped Dawanna off this particular time, he didn't roll the window down. He didn't even have his music up loud. Because normally back in that time, they would have their music up loud, their car was clean, and this, that, and the other. But he didn't. So Margaret yells out when Dawanna gets in the back seat of the car to get her bag out. When she did that, Margaret yelled in the car like, why did you roll the window down? He knew that Dawanna had already told us that she had put her hands on him. See, keep in mind, they weren't going to get it off. They weren't going to get it off on her. What they did to her, she did to him. But at the end of the day, she didn't just do it to him. She did it to a lot of people. But you can't judge her. That's my cousin. Can't judge her. She knew what she was doing. But she was from the streets. So when Margaret got a chance, Margaret ran up to the back of his car. She looked in. He was all scratched up. I mean, when I say he was scratched up, he had been in a cage with a tiger and he lost the fight. But okay, Dawanna had fucked him up too. So Dawanna got her bag out. He called her a bitch. He told her, he was like, when I catch you in the wrong, beat your ass. She told him, she was like, you ain't gonna put your hands on me. He was like, if y'all ain't gonna put my hands on you, what's wrong with your eye? We started laughing because it was funny. Because her eye was big. I mean, it wasn't shut, but it was big. You could tell he had knocked shit out of her. Okay, so Dawanna gets on the porch. My mom sees the eye. My mom goes into the kitchen. You know those big Kool-Aid spoons that's metal? My mom had one of those. You supposed to put a small spoon over your eye to get the black eye out. My mother put one of those big-ass, colorful, big-ass metal spoons that you stir your Kool-Aid with on Dawanna's eye. So Dawanna had this big-ass spoon on her eye and it was covering the whole eye. Because you gotta keep in mind, my mom, by her raising us being a single mom, but Eric was there, but she just did shit the way she knew how to do it. She didn't give a fuck. My mother, if y'all knew my mother to this day, my mother still don't give like no fucks at all. Not one fuck do my mother got. So when she put this thing on her eye, Dawanna was actually outside. Now the cars is coming up and down the street. They got their music on and shit like this. I mean, it was that. So maybe about a week later, that black eye was gone. But she still had like a mark right here. But she would put like foundation or some makeup or some shit on it so you couldn't see it. Another street pharmacist pulled up in front of my mom's house. Now, keep in mind, by it being a bunch of girls on the porch, one of the girls that was on the porch, that was her dude. She thought he was coming to our house to get her. But when Dawanna came outside, Dawanna came out the door, looked over at the girl, and she laughed, and she got in the car with the girl's dude. The girl came and got off the porch, and she never came back. So later on that night when he dropped her off, Dawanna had on a brand new outfit, brand new shoes. Her hair was done. Apparently he had took her and he got her all the way together and brought her back. But this is how Dawanna always was. She didn't give a fuck. She really did. She had her own money, but she didn't give a fuck about nothing. Long as a motherfucker took care of her. Now, the girl was Monique's friend. Monique ended up having to explain to the girl that we didn't know that Dawanna was fucking around with him. Even Dawanna said it. But the girl she was still coming by, but she really wasn't. But that wasn't our fault. That was Dawanna. That was her bullshit. Remember, I kept telling y'all she don't give like no fucks. She has no fucks. She should have been Mary King's daughter. That's who the fuck she should have been, my other sister, because she didn't give no fucks. Dawanna went and she said she was going to go make a play. When she went to go make a play, all we seen was Dawanna run from around the corner, at top speed. And when she ran around the corner at top speed, we thought something was going on. It was. She had a whole car chasing her from the side street of my mom's house. My mom got a street that goes down, and it's a one-way. This man came up the one-way, all on the sidewalk chasing Dawanna. Now, keep in mind, she ran in the house and got my mom. When she ran in the house and got my mom, she told my mom this man was trying to beat her up. When my mom ran through the house and she came outside, when Rain seen my mom, he stopped. Because he had already blocked the street off, so that means it was congestion in front of my mom's house. When my mom seen the congestion, she told all the cars that were slowing down to get the fuck from in front of her house. But then when she seen him running towards Dawanna, Dawanna was standing behind my mom. She said, put your hands on my damn niece and I'm going to fuck you up. She said, don't ever bring your ass back to my house again. You the one pushed her in the eye in the beginning. Go bring your ass back over here. He told her, yes, ma'am, because at the end of the day, my mom ran her street. She wasn't having it. My mom is not scared of nobody. My mom is 72 right now and take a bitch out. You know what I'm saying? So, listen, Mary King ain't no hoe. Okay, so my mom told him this. The last thing he told Dawanna was, when I see you, I'm kicking your ass. She was like, fuck you and all this other stuff. So it had that down. We didn't see. Now, keep in mind, Dawanna was street smart, but she was regularly dumb. Dawanna had told us that she wanted to go down to her mom's house, change her clothes, and get her another bag of clothes and take the other ones down there so her mom could wash them. My mother turned to Dawanna. She told her, she said, listen to me. You will not walk nowhere by yourself, she said, because this is not over between you and him. What had happened between Rain and Dawanna, Dawanna had spent the night over Rain's house. Rain was a street pharmacist. But the street pharmacy that he dealt with, Dawanna knew how to street pharmacy herself. So she helped herself to his pharmacy stuff. And when he noticed that Dawanna was making more money than what she normally would, he started counting his pharmacy stuff. It was missing. He knew immediately that Dawanna had did it. When Dawanna showed back up at his house, he started chasing Dawanna. But Dawanna had been in his stuff. She was making money because she was giving lots of money to my mom to hold for her because she was saving her money because she was doing her street pharmacy stuff. So Monique, it was me, Monique, Margaret, and Dawanna. We all walked Dawanna, which was exactly like maybe walking. It took us 25 minutes from my mom's house to Dawanna's house, from Dawanna's house back to my mom's house. But in between us having to walk there, we had to walk past some other projects, and they was called Summit Courts. But Summit Courts was just as bad as Edgewood Courts. But at Summit Courts, the police wasn't accessible like they was in Edgewood. So, because the police station was down at the bottom of the street at my mom's house. So, Summit Courts was off the chain. I mean, when I say off the chain, I would cross the street so I didn't have to walk past there. Because Rain had some flunkies that was down in Summit Courts. When they was down in Summit Courts, they seen us walk past the courts. And when they seen us walk past the courts, Dawanna turned around and she told him, she said, yeah, I know you getting ready to call him. Like that. He was like, no, I ain't got nothing to do with that. I ain't got nothing to do with that. Keep in mind, by this time, we had passed the store. We was almost at her mom's house. We was down at my aunt's house maybe about 15 minutes. When we got past the store the second time, Dawanna seen Rain's car. When she seen Rain's car, she gave Margaret her duffel bag. Margaret put her arms in the duffel bag. It wasn't a backpack. It was a regular duffel bag. Margaret put it in her arms, put her arms in it because Margaret was skinny all her life. Margaret put the bag on like a backpack. Monique, this is what Monique told us. She was like, me and Dawanna is going to cross the street. You and Margaret walk on that side of the street. She said, keep in mind, Rain's car was tinted. We didn't know if he was in the car or outside the car, but the car was running. Now, by Margaret having a duffel bag, I put Margaret by the street. I wanted to walk on the other side close to the project, so if something went on, my sister could get away. So Monique told us once we get past Church's Chicken, we was going to separate and everybody was going to meet up at my mom's house if something jumped off. Because the way Ray's attitude was, and it is still to this day, shitty. He has a shitty, fucked up, old raggedy attitude, but Dawanna had one too. But by him being a man, we knew something wasn't going to go right. So Monique's plan was working so far. We made it past the projects. So when we made it past the projects, we was headed towards Church's Chicken. All of a sudden, we heard tires screeching. When we heard the tires screeching, we automatically knew that Rain was coming after Dawanna. Monique yells out, run. Soon as Monique yells out, run, Margaret takes off. Dawanna's clothes is in the duffel bag that's got her like shoes and all her toiletries and stuff like this. The bag is kind of heavy. But Margaret being skinny, I'm thinking like that bag is going to be too heavy for her to run with. I snatched the bag off of Margaret. I tell Margaret, go get Mom. Margaret takes off. When Margaret takes off running, Margaret is running and she's running across Riverview, headed for Broadway, getting ready to hit the drive-thru. Me and Dawanna had crossed the street and she was going to head towards the run in Church's Chicken. When she got ready to run in Church's Chicken, all we seen is his car come through Church's Chicken parking lot. When we seen it come Church's Chicken parking lot, all we remember seeing was Margaret headed towards the drive-thru. When Margaret was headed towards the drive-thru, that brought Monique over where me and Dawanna was. We was getting ready to run in Church's Chicken. When we got ready to run in Church's Chicken, by the way it was, me, Monique, and Dawanna had to pass the fence to get to Church's Chicken parking lot because Church's always had a crowd in it. Church's Chicken was always crowded. Once we tried to make it to there, his car caught me and Monique and Dawanna against that fence. When I say his car caught us against the fence, it caught us where our legs was pent on the fence, and when I say he was mad, he was so mad. But see, this was the messed up part. It wasn't just him. He had a car full of dudes, and it was like 4 other cars coming from the projects because they seen him chasing us. So that brought a crowd of people out of Summit Courts. Instead of them trying to help us, they was there to actually watch and see what he was getting ready to try to do to my cousin. Now, keep in mind, a cousin is a cousin. I don't give a damn. You don't turn your back on family, whether they fuck you or not. That's your family, especially a cousin. A cousin is something, when you say cuz, that means a lot. Now, keep in mind, when he popped out the driver's side, Dawanna was in between me and Monique. Monique told him, she said, motherfucker, don't put your hands on my motherfucking cousin. He called Monique a bitch. But keep in mind, the crowd of people that was actually watching this was some of the people that didn't like us. They didn't like us for no reason. I don't know what the problem was, but it was some of them bitches. You know, you had the bitches in your neighborhood that just didn't like you. Some of the bitches was thinking that this man was getting ready to put his hands on my cousin in front of us, in front of a crowd of people. No, you wasn't. Because it was 3 of us that was trapped on that fence. But it was a 4th that was not there. And that was Margaret. And if you keep in mind, Margaret is a devious, low-down, dirty snake person. But imagine Margaret at 14, 15. Margaret was a force to be reckoned with. At the end of the day, we thought Margaret had ran and got Mom. Margaret didn't run to get Mom. Margaret told our neighbor, Margaret seen my mom's neighbor in the drive-thru. When she seen him in the drive-thru, she told him what was going on. He got out the drive-thru and he went and got my mom. Margaret walked in through the drive. She ran through the drive-thru. When she ran through the drive-thru, Margaret grabbed a hold to a 40-ounce bottle of beer. When Margaret did that, where Margaret was at. When you come out the drive-thru, you had to cross Riverview. But when you cross Riverview, it was an abandoned building right here, and then Church's was right across the street. Margaret had to cross the street. Margaret is skinny and tall. Margaret had to cross the street in the middle of traffic while these people is gathering around watching him getting ready to attack us. Why? Because he got his pitch against the fence. Monique was pushing the fence back to try to loosen our legs away from the fence, and we was trying to scoot out. But before we could get all the way out of between the car and the fence, he caught a hold to Dawanna. When he caught a hold to Dawanna, he pulled her hair and he hit her in her face with his fist. by him hitting Dawanna in her face with his fist, that made Monique start immediately getting really mad. Monique got free. When Monique got free, she was fighting him over the car door. This car door was open, but he was on this side, and Monique was on this side of the car, and Monique and him start throwing blows. By me thinking, oh my God, he fighting my sister. Dawanna is already leaking. When she's leaking, her nose is leaking, and her lip is leaking. People in the crowd is like, ooh, you know what I'm saying? You know how people do. But nobody is helping. So by this time, the lady in church, and she came out, she said she called the police. The other cars start leaving because they knew that the police was coming. By this time, he's still so mad, he's trying to get a hold to Dawanna. When I tell you that when we got loose from this thing, we started fighting him. His friends started trying to fight us. They was hitting us, but it wasn't that they was hitting us to hurt us. They was hitting us just to make it seem like they had jumped us, but they didn't. And then what pissed me off even more is that even though she was leaking, Dawanna came from around that car, and when I tell you we was fighting this man, we was fighting him. And these people was just standing around. His friends wouldn't break it up. The lady called the police. We fighting. My mom, we know my mom is coming because her neighbor had told her by now. Margaret is running with this 40-ounce bottle of beer. When she see him fighting, and he is trying to stomp my sister, I got a hold to him, but his friends is hitting me from the back. Margaret comes from nowhere. And when I say Margaret cracked him in his face, Margaret cracked him dead in his face with this bottle. That busted the bottle. That made him get the fuck off of my sister Monique. When we got up, even though the police, we could hear them, we still didn't want to stop the fight because at the end of the day, that's my cousin. You not going to sit and jump her in the middle of everybody. It was just a mess. That day, it was a mess. But by the time my mom got there, and then what pissed me off even more is that even though she was leaking, Dawanna came from around that car, and when I tell you we was fighting this man, we was fighting him. And these people was just standing around. His friends wouldn't break it up. The lady called the police. We fighting. My mom, we know my mom is coming because her neighbor had told her by now. Margaret is running with this 40-ounce bottle of beer. When she see him fighting, and he is trying to stomp my sister, I got a hold to him, but his friends is hitting me from the back. Margaret comes from nowhere. And when I say Margaret cracked him in his face, Margaret cracked him dead in his face with this bottle. That busted the bottle. That made him get the fuck off of my sister Monique. When we got up, even though the police, we could hear them, we still didn't want to stop the fight because at the end of the day, that's my cousin. You not going to sit and jump her in the middle of everybody. It was just a mess. That day, it was a mess. But by the time my mom got there, by the crowd being outside, the police pulled up. When the police pulled up, Dawanna was leaking. He was leaking. It was glass everywhere. A crowd of people was outside. Everybody was still just looking. They weren't trying to help. They was just looking. Keep in mind, my mom's neighbor had made it to the house. My mom and Eric had came around the corner in the truck. My mom was such a bitch about the way she handled stuff sometimes. But I tip my hat off to her because my mom never let us down. When I say they had him handcuffed and they was talking to him, but the ambulance had Dawanna because her lip and her nose was bleeding. My mom walked past the police. He was handcuffed. The police was writing down stuff. When I say my mom started whooping his ass in front of the police while he was handcuffed, she had told him, and the last thing she told him was, I told you not to put your motherfucking hands on my niece, but you put your hands on my kids and my niece, I'm going to beat your ass. My mom started kicking his motherfucking ass in front of the police in the handcuffs. When I say my mom started whooping his ass in front of the police, that made them arrest my mom. When they arrested my mom, Church's Chicken sits right on the corner of Broadway and Riverview. But if you went down across the bridge, down Connor Street, there was my granddaddy's junkyard. When they went and got my granddaddy, my granddaddy got up there. He told my mom before they took her downtown. He was like, I'll be down there to get you out. My granddaddy got my mom out. I think we're going to call him Rain. Rain, I don't know if he stayed in jail or not, but he never messed around with Dawanna no more. He never came past our house. Now, he would come past with bitches in the car. You know how people was back then. If you was in the 80s and 90s, you know how they did. You messed them over and they want to bring a bitch by your house. You know what I'm saying? So he was doing that for a while, but then eventually he stopped. We don't know if they ever made up because for the time that happened, Dawanna never was talking about him. But nevertheless, this is my cousin. this is the reason why I made this video, because my cousin was the shit. Even though she was dead wrong with this one, but she didn't give a fuck because she still did what she wanted to do. She kept her money or whatever, but yeah, it's still Mary King saved the day again. So, just like I said, like, comment, subscribe, and I thank y'all for watching, and I'll see you on my next video.
Hi.
Bye.
Cousin. We all got that one cousin that we do.